Alright, what is going on, guys? My name is Leon Master, and today, boys, we are back with a video. I know it's been like 4 or 5 days since a video has not been uploaded, because I don't want to actually spam you guys with a lot of tier list videos. We're going to take a break with that. I know there's been a lot, and they've been pretty long as well. Taking a break from those tier list video, trying to do some video ideas, and I came up with one, and we're obviously, like I said, I promised you guys top 5s and even top 10s. And I am bringing you guys the first top 10 of Season 3. And this one is kind of a difficult one to actually make, but it is the top 10 underrated signings of the Overwatch League Season 3 off-season. Now, honestly, when I looked through the signings of everything going on, there honestly wasn't that many underrated signings, I would say. There was definitely a few, and during this list, I definitely think it gets very underrated at number 6, and above that, everything below it is somewhat my opinion, but maybe some of you guys could agree. Maybe you guys can put your own thoughts in the comments below. This one's just for fun. This is a top 10. This isn't a tier list. But either way, let's go jump right into it. Now, starting off at number 10, we got Lastrow with the LA Valiant. Now, the reason he's number 10 is because, yes, there is some hype with him as well. Not a lot, I would say. And also, some people were just kind of forgetting about it, just letting it go by. Obviously, it's the LA Valiant. People are kind of forgetting about it. And people still aren't aware that Lastrow could definitely be a huge part of this team, even being the bright spot, the one who could definitely do a decent replacement for Kariv, and then having that great off-support position with whoever Rain is going to be beside him. And then the rest of the team's still questionable. I definitely think Lastrow needs to get more love with what he's doing. Obviously, now that he's on LA Valiant, it's going to be very hard for him to show off how he did in Contenders. And I definitely think that's why another reason people aren't a huge fan of him, or that aware of him, I guess you could say, because people don't really watch Contenders. And people who do know how good Lastrow could be, but people are also, like I said, people are just letting this go by, not really thinking about it. I definitely think Lastrow is definitely a very underrated signing, but then again, he's at number 10 for a reason, because some people are aware of him as well. That's just number 10. Now on to number 9, we got Funny Astro with the Philadelphia Fusion. Now, I know a lot of you guys may disagree with me on this one, but the reason I say it is because there's actually a decent amount of people out there saying that Tuno is better than Funny Astro, and people are also saying Funny Astro will probably not do the best on Philly, which is very surprising because Funny Astro had consistent performances on Atlanta Academy, being one of the best main sports, if not the best main sport down in Contenders, and whenever he had his time on the Atlanta Reign, obviously it was kind of like a little fun games when he did play, but he still performed at a high level of his Lucio and even the Mercy, whatever we're going to go into. If we're going to go in the BAP, yes, I can see some people being very on it because we have not seen his BAP that much as well. We've seen more of his Lucio compared to every other hero he's played. I can see why people would underrate this signing as well, or not think about it as well. I definitely think, just in general, Funny Astro, I am on underrated list because people aren't talking about him. I feel like people should be talking about Funny Astro being the next best main sport, maybe top 5, maybe top 10, maybe top 5 is a stretch, but he is going to be up there. Now at the number 8, you guys heard me talk about this guy for so long. It is Roar on the Washington Justice. Now, a lot of people are hating this signing, and a lot of people still think Lulsish could start over Roar, which would make sense because Ellie votes there as well. But if you've been here for a while, I think Roar is going to start. I definitely think Roar is going to do great things on the Justice, especially now that John Galt's on the Justice, and then a lot of other people are as well. I think Roar's going to fit into this team and end up being what he was supposed to be on the LA Gladiators, because obviously he did not perform the highest he did on the Glads, even though he did perform, in my opinion, very well. I definitely think he'll do better on the Justice. That's just my opinion. But whatever happens, happens. People are hating this signing. People think he's going to be a sub. People think he's going to just do bad in general, which blows my mind. But Roar is going to do fantastic on this team. I definitely think people should be talking about this one as well, and no one's talking about it. Obviously, the reasons why people aren't probably talking about it is because Lulsish and Ellie are on the team. They're a great duo. You don't want to break up that synergy. Makes sense. But after what we saw of Lulsish in the World Cup, in my opinion, I think we're just going to see Roar over Lulsish. Obviously, that was a little bit of the World Cup, seeing Lulsish. But either way, what I've seen so far, I'd like Roar tank style over Lulsish a little bit more. But hey, John Galt has a plan. I'll trust his plan. But either way, I still think Roar should be getting a lot of respect with this new signing for the new team. Now on to number 7, which could shock some people. It is Repel on the Houston Outlaws, and I have read everywhere with Houston Outlaws pages, Reddit in general, people still think Rekkles is going to start, which isn't a bad argument what people are bringing up, because obviously his most recent performance is the World Cup, and he did perform, I definitely think I could say one of his best in a while compared to his Houston Outlaws performances recently. I agree with that. Rekkles did perform well, but Repel, on the other hand, still showed great performances on the Vancouver Titans. Whenever he got the chance, he still looked good. Obviously, it's very hard for him to get chances on the stage whenever you have Twilight above you starting. And then just in general, his stream is showing how good he is. When he played on Element Mystic, showed how good he was. And people just aren't talking about this one as well. That's just my opinion. I really think Repel will do great things on the Outlaws, especially the little more thing they're doing now with Koreans and their new coaching staff. Harsh is there. Harsh is obviously going to try his best to put Repel in the starting spot. And a lot of people just aren't talking about this one. People still think Rekkles is going to start, which blows my mind. Rekkles has gotten better as time's gone on, for sure, with the World Cup. But Repel's there, who's been consistent majority of the time compared to Raucus. You just put Repel in my opinion. Now on to number 6. Like I said, this is where the actual underrated signings really come in. Like, really come in. I definitely think some of the ones below them are still somewhat underrated. But anyways, on the number 6, we got Nosmite with a Paris Eternal. And the amount of people who are disappointed at the signing, think it's one of the worst signings this offseason, really confuses me because obviously they're going more towards a Korean route, and Hanbin may be more comfortable with a Korean main tank, and that's why they signed Nosmite, who in general probably would have never gotten to another Overwatch League team if it wasn't for Paris, because Hangzhou had Yujue, and every other team had their good main tank. Maybe he could have went to LA Valiant. They still have Dreamer with issues apparently. He could have went there. But Nosmite on the Paris, I think fits well. I genuinely like the signing. I definitely think it will fit well with Hanbin. I have hope that Nosmite performs like he did on X6, because if he does, he's going to be up there with top stats in general, in my opinion, if he performs like he did on X6. Obviously, we didn't see that at all with the Hangzhou Spark, but then again, you could blame that on other things. But either way, in general, I think he'll bring that with the Paris Eternal, with the new DPS, and Hanbin beside him. And then just the coaches on Paris are some of the best coaches I've seen on an Overwatch League team. In general, I definitely think they'll help Nosmite come back to how he performed on X6. That's just my opinion. People are still hating the signing. I get why, because obviously Hangzhou did not have a great performance with Nosmite. I have hope in this one. Then again, you could argue I'm a little bit too nice, and yes, I am too nice. I don't really like bashing on players. I think Nosmite will definitely come back on Paris Eternal. Then on to number 5, we have Stand 1 on Shanghai Dragons. Another player who's getting, I wouldn't say hate, but more like, I don't think this tank's going to do well kind of like response on Twitter, or they're being scared like he isn't Gamsu level, which yes, he is probably not Gamsu level, but what he's bringing with the team already, what we have seen, is fantastic gameplay from the Shanghai Masters Tournament. He's going overtime in practice. Apparently, Moon said every time everyone leaves, he's the one actually staying there later with Moon, practicing stuff, doing more stuff in general, and he's doing it himself. He's not doing a requirement of Moon. He's wanting to get better. He's getting better for Overwatch League players around him. I've always said Stan One's a good signing. Obviously, it's not Gamsu, but with Overwatch League players around him and coaching staff, Stan One has a potential to be very, very good, if not one of the most talked about main takes next season. And like I said, people aren't talking about him, which I don't blame him. Obviously, he was on the Gladiators Legion. He had a lot of ups and downs. Team Envy, he had a stand-in. You couldn't really argue that much about that one. I can understand why people are not that hyped about this one, but I definitely think this tank should be on people's minds, or just in general. Then on to number 4, we got Jaymac with the London Spitfire. And I know a lot of people could just put London Spitfire in the list in general. I thought about doing that, but that would have been too much London Spitfire. So I chose the one that stood out to me the most, that's very underrated, is Jaymac. And a lot of people think Jaymac's not going to do the best, which blows my mind, because Jaymac, I definitely think he will be a pretty decent replacement with Gesture. I know it's like a stretch to say, but what we've seen with Jaymac in contenders and just on streams in general, the man performs very well with primals. He's not that inconsistent. Obviously, he's not Gesture level instantly, but he will be there, in my opinion. And with Bernard beside him, it will show Jaymac a little bit more. This in general, and people are just bashing on this one because it's not Gesture, right? People are so used to the London Spitfire roster we've been used to, and when they see new players come in and their old roster come, out as well, people aren't going to be a fan of this new lineup. But I know a lot of London Spitfire fans out there right now who like Jaymac, but who aren't Spitfire fans, or just don't know Spitfire that much in general. They're not that hyped for this one. A lot of people aren't talking about this one as well. I really think this one should be a little bit more talked about, because I definitely think Jaymac will just perform well in the league in general. I definitely think he won't be that bad. I definitely think he'll be above average in general. Like I said, we'll just need to see how things go on. Then on to number 3, and the next one is Kelex with the Toronto Defiant. And the amount of tier list I have seen with Kelex at the bottom of the tier list, F, D, whatever it is, they're pretty low on people's tier lists. It kind of blows my mind a little bit. That's just my opinion, because Kelex, when I watch him, what his comms are, he performs fantastic throughout the entire thing. On the wall, perfect times, boops people around. His ult usage is honestly very good. We've heard good things about his comms, good synergy of off sports. He'll work good with Carib. That's how I think in general. Kelex needs to stop getting this hate, in my opinion. Kelex, what he has done with the Boston Uprising season 1 and 2, and how he's dealt with it, has been very good. We saw whenever Kelex got out of the team and they put Alamo in, the team was just all around the place. They look scattered. They look like an anthill or something like that. If you stepped on an anthill, they all went everywhere. That's what it kind of looked like. without Kelex in the team. And whenever Kelex came in, they looked a little bit better. They looked more like a team, but they were losing it as a team as well. I really think Kelex will bring this to Toronto Defiant and just do good. I don't understand why he's at the bottom of the list. We know how good Kelex is. People have came out and said how important Kelex is as a player. He will be important to Toronto Defiant. It's sad to see him get all this hate, though. Now on to number 2, and this one's a forgettable signing, I feel like, and a very underrated one because this was at the beginning of the offseason. It is Tubbo with the Washington Justice, and this guy is very underrated. A lot of people aren't talking about him because if you've seen his games, you may see a lot of good potential with this team. He could end up even starting over Stratus, honestly, at this point. Even DP himself has said Tubbo is nasty at the video game. He's insanely good, and people should be more aware of him. And DP even said that himself, or on the lines like that, saying he was good in general. Tubbo, what we've heard, has been good. His game's been very good. Another signing people are just forgetting about that I feel like shouldn't be. Tubbo's going to be good on the Washington Justice. Could end up starting over Stratus, maybe. We don't know how that's going to end up yet. But Tubbo definitely feels some holes Stratus probably can't play. That's just my opinion. But like I said, time will go on. We'll need to see what happens. Maybe this one's a bad place to put on the list. I couldn't blame you guys if you did say that. But Tubbo, I definitely think it's underrated. No one's talking about it. People honestly forgot about it at this point too. Now on to a honorable mention before we go to number 1. And the honorable mention is Lip with the Shanghai Dragons. The reason he's honorable mention and not in the normal top 10 is because I never watched Lip at all until the Shanghai Masters tournament. And I feel like out of that tournament, not that much I should probably rank him on. Obviously, I've saw Tubbo more than Lip, and Lip looked great. He did look very good on the Shanghai Masters tournament, but obviously a lot of people could argue that was a weak Chengdu, weak Hangzhou, weak Guangzhou. I understand that argument, I feel like. So Lip, when you see what he performs on other heroes, obviously we just saw Reaper so far and some other ones, just a little bit more, just more Reaper. We'll just need to wait and see how the season goes on. We haven't seen everything of him yet. I haven't really seen him that much. I know a lot of people could say Lip on the list, on their list as well. But that's why he's an honorable mention. I don't know that much about him fully, and that's why he won't be on the list. I don't want to have fake opinions out there. Now on to number 1, which I feel like some people could disagree with me on here, is Charu with the LA Gladiators. I feel like people aren't talking about this one and how important this one's going to be with the LA Gladiators, and I feel like this will be one of the next best projectile players. Not huge, not like insanely good, not top 5, but maybe even top 10. But Charu will bring a lot to this team that people will think. He can play hit scan, he can play projectile, he can do all of that. That is somewhat important to the team, and it's a perfect signing from DP to do. If Birdring is ever inconsistent, Charu comes in and plays the hit scan. Even Charu plays a Widow, he plays McCree, he plays all these hit scans. Obviously, it's probably not his best compared to his projectile. And if Mirror doesn't perform well, Charu comes in. So you have a player who can play both roles very well, very high. So like I said, Birdring's inconsistent, Charu comes in for that. Mirror's not playing the best, Charu comes in for that. And my prediction for the duo now is probably going to be Birdring Charu. That's right now though, that obviously will change. But people are already forgetting about the signing, just letting it go by. Some LA Gladiators fans are still like surprised when they talk about it, like, wait, Charu's on the team? That's what I hear from a lot of Glads fans, and it's insane because people just already forgot about the signing. Obviously because we're near the end of the offseason, which makes sense. I can understand why people forget. But people aren't talking about this one. People should be hyped for this one. I definitely think some Glads fans are very hyped for this one. Some, I guess you could say, some Dallas fans are kind of hyped for it because they've watched Team Envy a little bit, and now they're seeing Charu go to the league, and everyone knows how much potential Charu has to go in the league, and now he's going to the Gladiators, which is a perfect team for him, may I say. A perfect team. He brings his flexibility too. And like I said, people just aren't talking about it. People should be talking about it. Very underrated, and that's it. So that is it, the top 10, you guys. Obviously, you guys can put that in order if you guys want to. That was just my order. It may not have to be. Don't take it in order. If 1 was too much, maybe you guys would like Tubbo 1. Make it 1. This in general, whatever you guys think of. That will be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys want to see more top 5 or top 10s, put some opinions down below, some ideas. That's going to be it for the video. Don't forget to join my Discord down below. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitter and my Twitch. And don't forget to hit the bell. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.